didn't sing very much this morning because I got a couple of extra things I wanted to turn into for the library. I didn't sing this morning because back when I was young, I used to sing around the house, and my mother said one time, "I hope my son grows up and sings solo." And then it wasn't until about a week later when I heard her talking to my dad that I hope he sings so low no one can hear it.
Oh!
But I mean, I've never really been much of a singer. But the other thing too, in terms of where I'm coming from, is if anybody would come up to me and tell me that their life is boring, I'm not going to go down that road, because I can assure you that my life has never been boring. I've been married 35 years coming up in another month, and I have 5 kids. All of them are married. I have 8 grandchildren, 2 greats. All the kids are college graduates. But along the way, it hasn't been an easy run, if you will. Let's see, when I first got married, my wife's first husband had passed with cancer, so they were both very young. And her ex-father-in-law was tied to the New York family, if you will. And I had found out about 3 years ago that there had been a contract on my knees, because the grandchildren came with us down to Virginia rather than staying up in New York where he wanted them. So I found that out about 3 years ago, but I wasn't surprised. And then that was in the 70s. And then in the mid-80s, my then 4-year-old daughter was diagnosed and told that she had 4 years left, or 6 months left, because she had brain cancer. Well, she is married, college graduate, with a baby. So through the grace of God and medical science, all things are possible, are they not? Okay. In the mid-90s, my other daughter, Janine, was stalked for 3.5 years. That was an interesting venture. I was to court 44 times, so that was fun. My wife was on a plane September 11th morning. We all know where we were that day. So, and now, as some of you already know, I have a 90 and 90-year-old parents, her parents, living with us. So, those of you that have that experience or something similar to it, you know that for them, every day is a new day. Okay? But not for us. But that's the thing, is that life throws us a lot of curveballs, but as I look at life, life is a blessing, and I've been very blessed over these years. Currently, what I've been doing the last 10 years in my profession as a financial person is that I love what I do. I've actually enjoyed many of the different things that I've done, and it brought me to the place where I am. So coming up all those years, my background, I actually grew up in Buffalo, New York. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the lake hasn't frozen over yet, so they still don't know when that big storm still might show up along the way. I went to school in Lemoyne College, Syracuse, New York. Actually, back in high school, I went to school with Tim Russert. If many of you remember Tim Russert, he used to be on Meet the Press. So we were 1 year apart. He lived several blocks from where I used to live at the time. But I went to college, came back to Buffalo. I taught for a couple of years in a private school, and then I was asked to go to New Jersey. And there I worked in a church. I met my wife through her sister. My wife was living in New York, and so I met her in New Jersey, and we got married within 8 months after we met. It was one of those things, love at first sight. Some of you may have encountered that, I don't know. We moved immediately to Virginia Beach, Virginia. We spent 25 years there. Loved it. Great situation, great schools. We were really blessed with the kids for all their schooling and everything else at that time. So that was a good thing. But here I am today. We moved to Florida. We decided we wanted to do that after many years. And so here we are today, and I got into the financial profession back in 2001. Now, what I wanted to point out is in front of you, I passed out the yellow brochures. Paper clipped to that are 3 business cards, and the reason those are there is that I would like you all to replace your old business cards I recently just completed another securities license, and I have to have those disclosures in my business cards. I'm required to do that. And Tom and I had this discussion, and it says financial advisor, but you all know that I have the health and Medicare seat. So please, Tom is the guy for the financial, but I need to have that. There's also an email address on there. And if you need more cards, grab them from the box. But thank you for doing and updating your cards on that. Inside the brochure, what I want to do is take a few minutes to kind of focus in a little bit more on what I actually do with Medicare and health insurance. On the inside, on the left-hand side, I want to point out there's 5 different things. It says the 5 options in healthcare coverage. And that's what I want to talk about right now, is that essentially for some folks today, all right, they have group plans. And in most situations today, that's the best place you can be. So if some of you are working, and I know there are a few in here that work for another corporation and they have the ability to get the group plans, typically that's going to give you the best bang for your buck. So I would always encourage you to seriously make sure you're okay with that. For those of you, as you're growing in your business, if you decide that you want to form a group plan, please contact me, because that's one of the things that I can help you out with as far as the group health insurance. The second is the individual or family coverage, and that's through a private insurance company. It could be like Humana, could be United Healthcare, it could be Cigna, any of those types of companies. That's where I do a good portion of my business for folks that are under the age of 65. Over the age of 65, in some exceptions, is when we start talking about Medicare. And that's another whole new parameter as far as possibilities. And I have 7 companies that I represent for Medicare options. So when you turn 65, if you've worked your 10 years, or the spouse of someone that has worked the 10 years, or if, God forbid, you have a Medicare disability, and those under age 65, you also can qualify for Medicare. I help folks out with that to find the right plans, and there's a lot of different options. We're bombarded on the TV, we're bombarded in the newspaper, and a lot of these poor 65-year-olds and older, if you know them or are one, you're killing our trees with all the stuff that goes out in the mail and the newspaper and all that. So there's a lot of information out there. And for a lot of folks, it's a nightmare. That's one of the first things I hear people say, Mike, help me with this stack of stuff that I'm getting in the mail. And by the time I'm done, about an hour and a half explaining how the system works, you know, that stuff goes right in the trash, because they now understand how the system works and what their options are. So that's one of the things I pride myself on when it comes to the Medicare side and the individual side. The third possibility, and this is something that's been around about a year, as a result of the Health Care Reform Act, they now have the pre-existing condition insurance plan. And this is for folks that are not currently covered, but they have a pre-existing condition that disqualifies them from the regular insurance company plans. This is something that it's been around, but I really didn't give it a lot of credibility for a while because the rates were really out of sight, and I didn't think it played a role. Well, they lowered the rates, and now this is something. So if you know of someone in that situation, please contact me. I can walk them through and see if there's something that I can help them out with that particular plan now. So it's something that can certainly help people out. The fourth possibility is that if someone is in a financial situation or they're challenged that way, you can certainly, I can pass the information along that they can connect with the county or through the state Medicaid program. Those plans are a great catch net for people that are having challenges on the financial side that they can qualify for. Now the fifth possibility, I can't help you. I mean, if you don't want insurance, and I understand that because, you know, as you're trying to grow a business or your financial situation is such, I get it. I understand the fact that a lot of people are willing to take that risk. It's probably one of the biggest risks that you can take, okay? And I'm not trying to paint a doom and gloom picture, but, you know, that's a scary thing because we never know what's going to happen. 2 years ago, February 14th, I was out on the front lawn kicking a soccer ball to my grandson, okay? and we were just forcing around, kicking the ball around, and then what happened is that I misstepped. Next thing I know, broke my ankle. You may remember I had that big boot on there back a couple years ago. Well, you just don't know. One moment to the next. I mean, who knew with a lot of these situations? So that's the thing that can be scary. These are the avenues, these are the areas I can help you or any of your family, friends, whatever, that I can help out with. So thank you very much. Michael Beiter, Preservation for